Hey you guys, this is Mac G from Simp, and I'm here today to talk to you about the map Abbey. Usually, I don't enjoy playing the map because I always tend to do something stupid that I know I shouldn't be doing. But today, as I'm explaining this, I'm going to explain the good things and not the stupid things that I like to do. Abbey, even though I don't like it because I YOLO too much, it is one of the most interesting maps in World of Tanks. I think it's probably the most symmetrical map right now. There, because of this, if you noticed last week's video, I had roles. I had roles for the tanks. I said armored or DPM, whatever you needed to fill that role. Because Abbey's symmetrical, there aren't really any specific tank roles that need to be filled on the map. Uh, because the map, due to its symmetry, it's basically just find the overmatch, find where you have 5 tanks and they have 3, and just push it. That's essentially what Abbey boils down to. So you just need to trust your team to win the overmatch. If you're on the 8 line and the enemy team has 5 tanks and you have 2, then just defend and trust that with superior numbers elsewhere in the west, your team can win the match because you're not going to be able to overpower 5 tanks with 2. So just be smart and trust your team to win the overmatch. And so yeah, these icons are abstractions. They're not. I'm not locking you into something. They're just, on the 2 line. This medium represents not necessarily a medium, but just something that's not exactly the heaviest tank on the team. All right, so let's get to it. The 8 line, I don't like going there. It has fewer options than any of the other flanks. Because you're locked down, you're at a lower level, you're at a lower elevation than other parts of the map. You're locked out of supporting your team. You're it's very difficult to support your team. You can get on the cliff, you can help your team, you can cross over and help your team, but it's much more difficult than it is anywhere else on the map. Of course, if you want to push it, if you need to push it, it's very possible. With coordination, if you have a platoon and you have like some heavy tanks that you just want to push the 8 and get on the enemy base, that's very possible. Then that's not exactly a terrible idea. So that is something you can always do. I just don't like doing it when I'm alone. Uh, Arty, as you can see, that I have 2 Arty for each side, but there's pretty much most of these places along the A are safe as long as your team is still alive to the south of that position. So just be smart with if you're playing Arty, use context. If you need shots down the 2, use the 2 position. If you need shots down the 1, this is the closest you're going to get to getting them. If you need shots down here at the G2 or G1, then this is a good position. Just use your lines of fire. If you're an Arty player, you should know, and you can do well. The 5 line, taking the Abbey. If you want to take the Abbey, it requires support. Uh, you can get a light in there. Just make sure that you have some tank right here to support you, so that 5 tanks don't roll up in right behind you and you get 5-on-1. You need to, if you're going to commit to the Abbey, which is a mistake I make often, is just YOLOing in without support. Just make sure you have support, because if they can roll 5 tanks in right behind you, then you're dead and you've done nothing. If you want to play a sniping, you can snipe the road from back there and get shots. You can also bring something like a T-32 or an M6 or some good turreted tank to shoot and look down this road as well. And then of course you can always bring a medium to harass them right here. If you're in a lighter tank or a lower tier tank, if you're in like a tier 6 tank in a tier 8 match, a good place to go is a 4 line, because of these buildings, you can really pester the enemy team. You can get in here, you can get shots up there, and then pull back into cover. You can do a lot of things from here to just harass the enemy and make them have a bad match. So if you're in a lighter tank or a lower tier tank and you want to just pester them, you don't want to be that big target that they chase after, then this can be a good idea if you don't want to be nuked by those bigger tanks. The 2 line is for, like I said, not top tier heavies, or not top armor heavies. So this would be like secondary heavies that are faster, less armored, and more able to avoid artillery fire. On the 2 line, you are going to have to avoid and be cognizant of artillery. So you'd want to be in something that can move a little faster, be a little smaller, so that you can use the rocks in this area, you can use the cliffs in this area to stay already safe. And then you'd want to also be able to push it if possible. If you can get to the G2 from the north, then you've got to already safety, but you're engaging their tanks, so so you need something to protect yourself. You need some armor to keep yourself alive when you do get to G2. And then of course at the D1, the 1 line is great for the heaviest tank. If you're the heaviest tank on your team, then you can push the 1 line. You don't have to worry about arty as much on the 1 line. So just push it. You don't have to worry about being circled because the road is so small. There's a lot of benefits to pushing the 1 line when you're the heaviest tank. And then also, if you're a lightly armored tank, if you're something like a tank destroyer that doesn't have as much armor but you have a lot of damage, if you're something like a 5100 or a T69, you don't need to go 2 or 1. Just follow the push. If you have a super heavy pushing the 1 line, just follow him, give him support, be the support tank that you're born to be. If you're pushing the 2 line, then just go follow the push on the 2 line and nuke tanks at the G1. So that's if you have less armor and you're more of a support tank. Just go follow the push, whichever side decides to push. Okay, and since this map is symmetrical, I'm going to show you the other side, and it's going to be pretty much the same thing, the same story. So let me get to that. Again, the 8 line, you need to be, it's fewer options, it's harder to cross over and support your team. So you'd want to be something heavier, and if you want to push it, you'd probably want to do it with a heavier platoon that can coordinate and win this 8 line by himself. If you were solo, I'd recommend against it. It's very hard to coordinate with 14 other tanks when you're solo. Oh, and a very important thing which I wanted to talk about was the 2 and the 5 line. They have very, very good synergy. You can support the 2 line from right here. You can support the 2 line from back here and get shots in there. You can support the 5 line from the 2. If you win the 2, you can support the 5 line. So they have excellent synergy, and those are 2 hotspots where you'd want your team to be, if it can be arranged. And then again, I don't think I've said this yet. My favorite spot to go is the 2 line. It's very flexible. You can support the 5. You can also defend the base very well. You have excellent base defense options from the 2. You can shoot from there, or you can drop down the ramp and get in close. From the north, it's not as easy to defend the base. You can be shot up from more places, and it's easier to be lit. But again, you can drop down the ramp, get in close. You can go out wide, get in close. There's a lot of good base defense options from the 2 line. And then again, Artie has a lot of places on the south. There are a lot of places on the south. There's right there, right there, right there, and then there's actually 3 spaces in this area. There's one on the road, there's one in between the road, and then there's one right there on the top plateau. And then this is the mid plateau right here, this area, and there's a low road. So this is the low, this is the mid, this is the high. This is the mid right there. You can hide in the mid right there, and then there's a high up here where you can stash your artillery. The 5 line again requires support, so don't YOLO in without support. I make that mistake fairly often, and it does cost me matches. So I'd probably have a much higher win rate on Abbey if I didn't YOLO in without support so much. Again, you can pester tanks in the 4 line from the south. It's a very, very nice catacomb of buildings where you can just pop in and then disappear, pop out, disappear, pop out, disappear. So it's very good for harassing the enemy. And again, on the 2 line, thanks to the symmetry, you do need to avoid artillery. And getting here, there isn't an already safe spot like there is at G2, so you just need to keep being ready to push it. There is this spot, but it's not very good, so you're gonna move on further because you don't want to be sitting there for the rest of the match. And again, you can push the 1-9 with the super heavy, and you don't have to worry about artillery as much or being circled on that road. And then if you're a support tank, of course, you'd want to be able to just follow the push. And that's pretty much it for Abbey. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, or message us on our Facebook or our Twitter, or wherever you can find us on social media, where we try to do our best to respond. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the videos, hit the like button, or hit the thumbs up. Follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll of course be making more of these videos and pumping them out as much as we can. And thank you for watching. Please follow us on social media. We have our links to all our stuff, our Facebook, our Twitter, our Twitch, and then of course you can just, it's as easy as hitting a few buttons on YouTube. So thank you very much for watching the video. Take it easy. Have a good night, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Have a good day and enjoy the rest of it.